The morning they put my life on the lawn started like any other, but the quiet felt heavier, like the house itself was holding its breath. I woke up in the guest room of my parents' split level in a quiet Denver suburb. The kind of place where lawns are manicured on Saturdays and neighbors wave, without really knowing each other. My name is Sophia Grant. At 34, I had spent the last decade climbing as a senior financial advisor, skipping vacations, packing lunches, and watching my savings grow to just over $50,000. It was supposed to be my down payment on a real home of my own, not this temporary stay to cut costs while I house hunted. Downstairs, the kitchen smelled of burnt toast and coffee. My mother Evelyn stood at the counter in her robe, stirring oatmeal with mechanical precision. My father Richard sat at the table scrolling through his tablet, his reading glasses perched low. My brother Brandon lounged against the fridge, phone in hand, looking like he hadn't slept. He was 32, charming in that effortless way that always got him second chances. But his string of failed ventures, first a gadget subscription box, then drop-shipping trendy tech, lately crypto trading, had left him broke again. I poured myself coffee, trying to keep the morning light. "Morning," I said softly. Evelyn turned with that practiced smile. "Sophia, honey, we need to talk about Brandon. He's hit a rough patch with the new venture. Investors are pulling out, and he just needs a bridge loan to keep it afloat." I set my mug down carefully. The air felt thick already. "How much?" "About 50,000, Brandon said, not meeting my eyes. "You have it sitting there. Family helps family, right?" My stomach twisted. 10 years of discipline, night classes, overtime, no luxuries, and they saw it as shared property. "I've helped before. Birthday gifts, emergency cash, even co-signed that car note 2 years ago that you defaulted on. This is my future." Richard cleared his throat, voice low and steady. "You're living under our roof. That money didn't grow in a vacuum. We've given you stability. I paid rent while I was here, covered groceries. My tuition was loans I repaid myself." The words came out sharper than intended. Brandon pushed off the fridge. "Always so perfect, Sophia. Spreadsheets and safety. I took risks. That's how you build something real." "Risks that keep failing," I shot back, my voice trembling despite my effort to stay calm. Evelyn reached for my arm, eyes pleading. "Please. For your brother. For us." I pulled away. "No. Not this time." The silence that followed was deafening. I left the kitchen, heart pounding, and went upstairs. In my room, I opened my banking app out of habit, fingers flying through the routine check. Everything looked normal until I scrolled to recent activity. A withdrawal, $5, 200, from an ATM 2 miles away. I hadn't been there. My pulse spiked. I checked the login history. An IP address tied to our home router. Logged in at 2:14 a.m. 2 nights earlier. My hands shook as I closed the app. Someone had accessed my account from inside this house. The realization settled like ice in my veins. This wasn't a one-off mistake. It felt calculated. I confronted Evelyn in the laundry room later that afternoon, voice low to avoid carrying. "Did you use my laptop for Wi-Fi recently?" She froze, folding a towel too slowly. "Just once. Mine wasn't connecting." "I didn't think. You logged into my bank?" The betrayal hit hard. Not loud, but deep. She looked away. Brandon needed help. I was worried. That's not help. That's crossing a line. I walked out before she could reply, the weight of it pressing on my chest. That night, I lay awake, replaying every conversation, every sigh about family loyalty. The quotes I'd collected over years, Eleanor Roosevelt reminding me no one could make me feel inferior without consent, echoed in my mind. I wasn't giving consent anymore. But the storm was just beginning. The next days blurred into tense politeness. Meals were quiet, eyes avoiding mine. I dove into work from my laptop, projecting calm while quietly documenting everything. The unauthorized withdrawal was the crack that revealed more. Digging through old files in my closet box, I found a loan agreement from 2 years back, $12,000. My name and social security at the top, Richard listed as co-signer. My signature looked close, but the date didn't match any time I'd been available. Forged. My breath caught. This wasn't new. They'd been using me as a safety net. A ghost credit line. I scanned it, added to my growing folder of screenshots. Timestamps. Endnotes. Clarity replaced panic. I wasn't the problem. I was the resource they'd exploited. Brandon cornered me in the backyard one evening as I paced the grass. The Colorado air crisp with mountain chill. Come on. Soft. Don't be heartless. The business needs it. Your family. Family doesn't forge loans in my name. I showed him the document on my phone. His face paled, but he recovered quickly. Dad handled the paperwork. It was for the family. That's not how it works. It's fraud. The word hung between us. Evelyn appeared on the porch, twisting her hands. We're just trying to keep us together. By erasing me? I asked softly. No one answered. I retreated to my room, changed passwords, set up alerts, moved funds to a new account. Oprah's words from years ago surfaced. You become what you believe. I was done believing I was the backup plan. Aunt Clara's call came unexpectedly. She had left the family years ago, the too sensitive one. I saw the tension building, she said gently. Your mother sacrificed everything. Don't let guilt trap you. I'm not wearing that weight, I replied. It ends with me. The conversation anchored me. I compiled more evidence. Credit inquiries I never initiated. An IRS notice they dismissed as error. The list grew, each entry a quiet betrayal stacking up. The final demand came Sunday evening. They gathered in the living room like a tribunal, Richard in his recliner, Evelyn on the couch, Brandon on the armrest. Transfer the $50,000 by Friday, Richard said flatly. Or you're out of this family. The audacity stole my breath for a moment. That's not a request. It's extortion. Evelyn dabbed dry eyes. Pride is tearing us apart. I stood. Maybe this blood was never mine. I walked upstairs without slamming the door. Just finality. That night, I packed a go bag, documents, charger, drive. Breen Brown's wisdom echoed. Daring to set boundaries is courage to love yourself even when disappointing others. I was choosing me. Morning brought the irreversible. My suitcases were gone from my room. I ran downstairs barefoot, heart racing, and found them lined neatly on the front lawn like staged abandonment. Richard stood on the porch, arms crossed. You made your choice. We're making ours. Across the street, a neighbor watered plants, but turned away. Humiliation burned, but tears didn't come. Just resolve. I loaded everything into my car, tore an old family photo from a frame, me blurred on the edge, and drove away. The engine's hum was my only answer. I checked into a clean Airbnb studio in downtown Denver. Sterile and mine. No family photos. Just space to think. I titled a document evidence and built the case. Bank logs. Forged loan. Screenshots. A consumer rights lawyer confirmed it qualified as identity theft and financial abuse. We can file, she said. I did. Deeper digging revealed worse. Colorado Business Registry listed me as co-founder and investor in Brandon's LLC. Never signed. Never approved. Pitch decks used my LinkedIn photo and credentials as silent partner to attract funding. An old contact confirmed. Brandon claimed I backed his Vegas pitches. He hadn't just stolen money. He sold my reputation. I forwarded everything to the lawyer, backed up to an encrypted drive. You used me, I whispered to the empty room. I decide how this ends. Ruth Bader Ginsburg's fight for what matters guided me. I contacted the district attorney's fraud hotline. The house felt lighter already. No more tiptoeing. I started rebuilding new passwords, credit freezes, therapy sessions to process the psychological toll of family gaslighting. Friends reached out after whispers spread. Support trickled in, reminding me I wasn't alone. Court day arrived in a Denver courthouse smelling of wood polish and tension. I wore my Navy suit, folder of facts in hand. Richard and Evelyn sat stiffly, Brandon absent. The judge reviewed the evidence, login trails, forged documents, unauthorized business use. I'm not here to call them bad people, I said steadily. What they did was illegal. I have proof. A temporary restraining order issued quickly, along with fraud findings. Outside, sunlight felt too bright. No one followed. Later, a neighbor's video surfaced on the local Facebook group. My bag's on the lawn. Richard's voice clear. You're no daughter of mine. Comments flooded with support. Old colleagues messaged encouragement. One said my story gave her courage to leave her own toxic situation. Then came the live stream. Brandon went on social media to clear misunderstandings, painting himself as victim.
They'd rant.
Officers arrived on camera, reading rights for identity theft and wire fraud. The stream cut. Justice arrived with a timestamp. I forwarded new evidence, Vegas pitch receipts, to authorities. No cheers. Just quiet closure. The weight lifted. Months later, at my firm, HR offered a new role, Director of Financial Ethics, public-facing, building safeguards against abuse. You raised the bar, my boss said. I accepted. Proud. Aunt Clara called again, sharing a childhood card I'd made her. I should have spoken sooner. We talked as survivors, not victims. Closure wasn't dramatic. It was choosing not to knock on old doors. I bought the family house quietly, then donated it to a nonprofit shelter for women escaping financial coercion. A plaque in the backyard read, "Family is earned, not owed." Keys and a note left on the counter for the next woman needing shelter. In my new apartment, friends gathered for simple dinner. I raised a glass to families we build by choice. Laughter filled the space. On my balcony, city lights humming, peppermint tea in hand, I journaled one line. I lost a family, but found a self I'm proud to claim. Home finally felt earned, not owed. The story wasn't just mine anymore. It was a quiet warning and a louder invitation to choose yourself.